What's good, family? Welcome back. You're checked in with Ameer, Naseer, where we talk about all things holistic health and wellness. As always, family, before I start today's video, I just want to wish you all inner wealth, which we know is the overall state of our health. And so without further ado, family, today's video, it'll be about 5 tips for starting a plant-based journey. And it was actually requested by one of you. And so I'm actually really excited to do this video. And so tip number 1, family, for starting a plant-based journey is to know your why. I can't emphasize this enough. It's really important to know your why when you're starting a plant-based journey. You know, write it down, pray on it, meditate on it, revisit it frequently. But once you know your why for starting your plant-based journey, it will hold you accountable. It will ensure that you're committed to the journey. It'll ensure that you're taking all the necessary steps, actions, to really just put yourself in this new world of what it means to be plant-based. And so I would say, in my opinion, I honestly think this first tip is definitely, all of them are important, but this one is definitely, it's crucial, because knowing your why, it really will allow you to hold yourself accountable, and you'll be able to complete your goals. In my opinion, you'll be able to complete your goals, whatever they may be, in regards to starting a plant-based journey. You'll be able to complete those goals. I would say even more clearly, I would say more quickly, and also just the likelihood of you completing whatever goals you have regarding your plant-based journey, it'll really improve and increase once you know your why and write it down. There's research that actually talks about how writing down your goals and making a list of your objectives, whatever the goal may be, it actually is proven that when we write these things down, we're more likely to fulfill them and see them from just a mere thought and concept in our conscious to an actual physical reality. And so with me, for example, one of my why behind starting my plant-based journey is very extensive, but some of the most important things that were a part of my why: number 1, I just wanted to achieve optimal health for myself, and holistically. I wanted optimal health, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So my health was really important to me when I was convicted by God to really just put my health first, prioritize myself and my needs. So that was really important to me when I started my journey. And something else that was also important to me when I started my journey was also, even outside of me prioritizing plant-based foods, I also did research, and I was able to learn about how being plant-based is also, it improves our environment. So I just started to learn different things about how the production of meat, it requires a lot of usage of water, and then how in rural areas they may not have access to clean water compared to other communities or environments and areas, and the list goes on about just environmental concerns that I learned about in my initial journey. And I would say that was another, important aspect of my why as well. In addition to just achieving optimal health, my concern for the environment, for the world and the planet. And I think it's really important that you all define your why for why you're embarking on this journey, because your why, it's going to keep you committed to the journey on your days where it gets tough, or on days where you're not as motivated, or on days where you think your discipline is under attack. Knowing your why, it'll keep you grounded, and it'll keep you focused on the prize. And the prize in this case is just our commitment to living a holistic plant-based lifestyle. And so again, family, tip number 1, just know your why. Next, family, we'll go on to tip number 2. So tip number 2, I would say, is to prioritize one area of your health in the beginning. So health is multidimensional. Again, we have, your physical health, your mental health, emotional health. We have your spiritual health, your financial health, environmental health. So our overall, health it's multidimensional. So it's not a one size fits all. And then we have many different components because we are complex beings. So it makes sense that our health isn't linear. It's very multidimensional. And so I would say with this tip, it's really important to, prioritize one area of your health. Start with one, and then you'll see how starting with this one area of your health, it'll then start to, roll over into the other dimensions of your health. So for example, with me, the area of my health I started with was my physical health, but specifically I started with nutrition. And so nutrition was my, number one priority when I committed to my plant-based journey. I remember in a couple videos ago, I shared with you all my journey in, South Africa, and how that was actually the starting, point of my holistic plant-based journey. And so I remember again, when I was abroad, I started as a vegetarian before fully transitioning into being plant-based. And so this was the area of my health I started with. So it was my nutrition. I just wanted to, ensure what I consumed, that it would benefit me in the long run. I cut out meat, I cut out dairy. I just wanted to really heal my body from the inside out. I knew it was an inside job. I knew it was an inside job. I knew, what at that time, once I received revelations about my health from God, I understood that food is very spiritual, and it's more spiritual than the world gives it credit for. And so, foods have many powers and capabilities, from, being able to affect our emotions, our mood, our energy levels. So food it's really a powerhouse. And so I knew that was the area I wanted to start with, because I think what we consume and what we, allow our body to digest, that by far is the most important aspect, because then what we're eating, it literally gives our body, our body systems, our cells, and everything else you can think of that our body is comprised of, it gives our entire vessel, this physical vessel right here, it gives our vessel instructions on how to live, on how to eat, on how to think, how to breathe. It gives our vessels all of these instructions, and that trickles down all the way to our cells. And so it's really important. At that point in my journey, it was really important for me to start with nutrition. So I share this just to, reel us back in with this tip. Just prioritize one area of health. So for me, it was the nutrition. For you, it might be self-care. You might start with getting massages more frequently. Someone might start with their mental health, so they might go on a journey of seeking out a therapist, or they might seek alternative therapy. Maybe they want to heal in nature. Instead of going to engage in verbal or talk therapy, some people will go heal in nature. Some people will engage in music therapy or body therapy. Like, there's many different forms of therapy, many different ways that you can start this holistic journey. And so I just want you all to start with whatever area you feel most convicted to start with, whatever area aligns with where you are on your journey currently. And I think that's actually really important too, to emphasize here. Start with what feels right to you in that moment. And so again, I'll use myself as an example again. When I was in South Africa and I journeyed from America to South Africa and then back to America, in that moment in my life, it just felt right, and it was aligned, and it made sense for me to start with nutrition, So again, family, that was tip number 2, prioritize one area of your health. On to tip number 3. Tip number 3, family. Third tip I would say, family, is to make it fun. Make it fun. It doesn't have to be this journey where you know, and it's easier said than done, but it doesn't have to be this journey where you're beating yourself up one day, you know, or you're extremely hard on yourself, or you feel restricted. This is not a journey that is to restrict you. It's a journey to actually open you up. It's a journey meant for you to explore a new way of living, a natural way of living. Living in a natural way is actually very fun. You can make it fun because you're able to explore all of these different, you know, alternatives, all of these different new ways of living. And honestly, I shouldn't even say new ways of living, forgotten ways of living. Because historically, the earliest peoples, the earliest civilizations, they lived very organically. They lived very holistically. They lived natural lifestyles. But over time, throughout history, humans, we've been removed, and especially us melanated people, we've been far removed from the practices of our ancestors, and we've been far removed from the holistic, you know, lifestyles of those who came before us. Just think about just the lost information and knowledge that even occurred during the transatlantic slave trade. And not just the transatlantic slave trade, there's many other scenarios I could bring up, but that's for another video. But I just want to really emphasize the importance of making it fun. And that's one way you can make it fun, right? Do research on which civilizations use different remedies or different therapies or different natural ways of living. You know, make it fun. It can be, and you can turn this educational journey into a fun journey. You might start to explore with different recipes. You might, let's say you reminisce on something that your family, a notable family dish, maybe years ago when you were younger, your family had this notable baked mac and cheese dish. Make it fun. Go research, go explore, and create a plant-based, you know, baked macaroni dish, you know? So you can make it fun. Like, you can apply it to any area of your health, any area of your life, and make the journey fun. If you make a mistake along the way, let's say you committed to being a plant-based vegan for 30 days, and maybe you get to the 15th day and you eat a piece of fried chicken. You know, you couldn't help it. You went to KFC, you went to Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever the case may be. You were just hungry. You know, you smelled that grease from a mile away, and you just wanted some fried chicken. Don't beat yourself up. Of course, you know, yes, the goal is to not resort back to, you know, an old habit that, you know, didn't serve us. And it's not, you know, healthy for our vessel. But you're transitioning into this new way of living. And again, it's not a new way of living, but for those who then embark on a journey, it is new, because now you're transitioning into a plant-based lifestyle. And so don't beat yourself up. You're literally changing, and change requires sacrifice. It requires a lot of dedication, commitment, discipline, and that's not an easy feat. You know, it really takes time, dedication, patience, and commitment to break old habits and build new ones, to break free from what you once knew or what you once thought was true, and then to enter into a new way of living, a new path, a new enlightened path. So don't beat yourself up. When I first started, when I was, vegetarian, and before I became fully plant-based, I also went through my own trials and tribulations. My favorite food before I became plant-based, when I still, consumed dairy and other flesh foods, it was pizza. So that was the last thing that I had to, give up when I was, in my process of transitioning to, a plant-based lifestyle. It was the pizza. That was something that, since I was younger, that was just always a staple food for me. So don't beat yourself up. I myself also, before I became, fully plant-based, I also had my own trials and tribulations that I experienced as well. You know, we're human. Give yourself grace. I know it's easier said than done, because I'm, you know, an individual who I can be hard on myself as well, but I've learned along the way, it's important to give yourself grace. It's important to really be kind to yourself. Make the journey fun. Make the journey fun. So the fourth tip, family, for how to start a plant-based journey, I actually said it in one of my explanations with the previous tip, which is funny, is to give yourself grace. So this is really important. And I think this is where the journey you'll have our authentic and organic growth is by giving yourself grace. And so it's really important to, again, set your goals, set your objectives, but along the way, give yourself grace. You know, don't be too hard on yourself. And when you do make a mistake, and when you do feel that you fell short, just get back up, keep going. Your body is going through, transition, and so it's having a lot of different chemical reactions and responses, a lot of biological reactions and responses. Your conscious is going through a shift. Your vessel is going through a shift. Your sensibility to your sensitivity to your environment, to the food you're consuming, to the new way of living you adopted. Your entire existence is going through a shift. So sometimes when your entire existence is going through a shift and you're embarking on a new journey, sometimes you'll meet resistance, right? And so it's just important to understand that because you're making a shift, think of the shift as growing pains. And that's exactly what it is. It's growing pains, but regarding your health. So again, I won't harp on this tip too much since I actually did talk about it briefly in my last tip, but give yourself grace, give yourself grace, give yourself grace. And then the last and fifth tip, family, I have for you today on how to start a plant-based journey is keep in mind the longevity that is provided to us in our life when we prioritize our health. When we prioritize our health, just think about the longevity of life that we're promised, that we can experience. So I would say this is also a very important tip to keep in mind. Once you embark on this journey, keeping your mind focused on why it's important to be healthy, what it means to be healthy, and the longevity that you can experience as a result of prioritizing your overall health and wellness, it's unmatched, and it'll keep you grounded, it'll keep you committed, and it'll keep you dedicated to the journey. And in addition, to that, just think about, on this journey, self-care, the importance of self-care and self-love. And so those two go hand in hand. And those two, in addition to you, again, just really being conscious about the longevity. It's the longevity piece I really want to hone in on, because when we prioritize our health, we will experience longevity. It's promised to us. God wants us to live a long life. God wants us to live an abundant life. So if God wants this for us, we should want it for ourselves. This is what's promised to us. When we live according to God's laws and the laws of nature, longevity. That's why we're here, to experience longevity, abundance, life. When we adopt a plant-based lifestyle, when we adopt this holistic journey, it's important to keep in mind that this natural way of living, it's all rooted in life. See, the world is going to promote death. The world is going to promote low vibrations. The world is going to promote unhealthy living, unhealthy habits, unhealthy lifestyles. But when you live organically, naturally, and you prioritize your holistic health and wellness, just all over, all over from the inside out, your entire existence is just natural. We are promised longevity. And so with this tip, I just really want to hone in on the longevity piece, and I can't emphasize it enough. Longevity, So again, family, keep in mind just the longevity that we're promised once we prioritize our overall health and wellness. Life is beautiful. We're supposed to live abundantly, and just on this journey, keep in mind of habits that promote life and habits that promote death. And of course, we want those habits, we want to adopt those habits that promote life. So when you're in a moment where it starts to get tough, the journey starts to get tough, once you meditate and pray on the habits that promote life, or the ways of living that are rooted in life and abundance, it'll increase your fulfillment and likelihood of remaining consistent with this journey and remaining committed to this journey. And then, in addition to these 5 tips I shared in today's video, after you've consistently adopted this new way of living, after you've consistently, committed yourself to this, there'll come a point in time where it no longer feels like this big feat. It no longer feels like this big challenge. Sooner or later, you'll just be walking around, hey, I'm plant-based. Hey, I'm vegan. Hey, I live a holistic lifestyle. Hey, it'll become natural, and then you'll see how those old ways and old habits, you'll no longer desire them. You'll no longer itch for them. Even your existence, your vessel will even disregard those things. It will find those things disgusting. It'll find those things not worthy of indulging in, So it's just like a natural order. It's a natural progression, and it's what makes the journey exciting, because that's what life is in and of itself. Life is a journey. So treat this process the same way as life. It's a journey. So make it fun. Have fun with it. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep in mind it's your journey. Keep in mind it's your health. And keep in mind the longevity that you deserve, that you're promised, and that you are entitled to. Do not let up. Do not sacrifice your health. Sacrifice other things for your health, but don't sacrifice your health. And so before, I go on a rant, family, I just want to keep us grounded. Again, today's video, I just discussed, 5 tips for how to start a plant-based journey. I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, family, it's all love, peace, and blessings and prosperity. I wish you all inner wealth, which we know is the overall state of our health. Peace.